Привет, мои друзья. Меня зовут David. Добро пожаловать. As it turns out, about 1/3 of my subscribers are actually Russian-speaking Ukrainians. So I thought I'd give you guys a special shout out today. Today I'd like to talk about my special tank, my 265 gallon. This one is actually not part of the fish room. I keep this one upstairs. This one originally I purchased with the intention of keeping Oscars in it. And the only thing is I found out that there was nowhere to get feeder fish around town here. So I did not end up getting Oscars. But instead what I decided to do was raise some goldfish to the point where I could breed them and get to make my own feeder fish. And I found out that feeder fish are not all that good for Oscars, so then I kind of backed off of that. Plus I also discovered that once I finally successfully bred goldfish, I didn't want to feed their babies to the Oscars. I was too happy with the babies. So I ended up with a perpetual goldfish tank here, and I got some decent sized goldfish in there. My original generation died off. I didn't understand about cycling an aquarium, especially one this size with fish as big as they were when I first got it. So I lost my original goldfish. I've raised up a few since then. These particular goldfish, some of them are pretty old and some are pretty new. The orange and white one here, and the calico one, and the other orange and white ones, and the black moor, they're all only a couple of months old. I picked them up for 14 cents a piece, or a little more for the shabunkin and a little more for the black moor. But picked them up tiny, about the size of this little Cory cat right here at the time. And in just a couple of months, they've grown tremendously in this tank. The bigger goldfish, that was kind of an interesting story. I received a call from a friend of mine, and they said that their daughter had purchased a house that had a fish pond in it, and it had fish in it. And they had a brand new baby just being born, and they did not want the fish pond in the yard because they were scared for the baby. So they asked if I would come and get the fish. And in my head, I had their house in a different location. I thought they lived about an hour and a half away from here. And I traveled to St. Louis all the time, which is an hour from here, so it was no big deal to go an extra half an hour. So I said, sure, I'll go get them. And then I realized that they were actually in Kansas City, which is 5 hours from here. But at that point, I've known the little girl my whole life, and I just really felt like I couldn't let her down. So, like a crazy person, I drove all the way to Kansas City and picked up, after a 10-hour drive, picked up a dozen or so goldfish that were worth about $20 and spent about $60 in gas to get them. But these three here are all that remain of those original fish, and they're doing pretty good. And the big one, if he would come out, is a respectable sized fish in there. He's approaching a foot long. He's not quite there yet, but he's pretty close. One thing I discovered though is when you got goldfish, even in a tank this size, 265 gallons, you pretty much want to do regular water changes, because even in a tank this big, you can't keep very many goldfish. I try to keep 12 or 13, but it turns out 9 is about all this tank will hold comfortably before they start dying off mysteriously. Now, one thing I wanted to know from you guys is I was thinking about, since I can't find any full-grown Oscars to buy, maybe I should buy 4 or 5 of those little ones and raise them up in here, put them in here to put some size on them, and then put them together with the one in the basement. Why don't you guys tell me what you think of that? And if you like that idea, don't like that idea, put it in the comments down below, and let me see what your opinion is. I'm not making any promises one way or the other, but I would love to see Oscars in this tank, since that's originally what I purchased it for. It could be a lot of fun. But in the meantime, I've started picking up supplies for that sump I talked about in the 120 gallon down in the basement. Since then, I've picked up a 29-gallon tank for $1 a gallon, and I've also got an 800-gallon an hour pump, which I picked up off of eBay for $30. So I'm still moving forward with that. That's the tank with the Oscars in it. See how that gets going. But I do have a lot of hours coming up at work, so I'm not sure how steady I'm going to be able to put out videos after the next couple of weeks. As soon as I get more employees, I can keep a more steady schedule. But at least for the next 2 weeks, I should still be good. So at any rate, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Tell me what you think about the Oscar idea. Put 4 or 5 babies in here, I'd probably go them up pretty quick. But that would mean rearranging quite a bit of the fish in the tank. I've got some white skirt tetras in here that I inherited because they were nipping the fins off of other fish. And then I've got 3 Cory cats that are quite small that I picked up with another tank. And then even that black moor might have a problem with the Oscars after a short period of time, so at least those fish would have to come out, I think. The Corys are kind of small, I think they'd have to come out. But I could put them in the angel tank downstairs. That's still a pretty empty tank. Give me your opinions, let me know in the comments below. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and hit that notification button so we come out with the next video. You'll all be there to see where we're going with it. Enjoy!